What is up? That closed down my Spotify. Damn. I know. If I try and go onto Spotify, I can't. And I can't do anything. Well, I don't know if I should go this, that, or my level 38, which still not easy, but I'm like a level 50. Wow. I've done 2 missions, I believe.
There's only one thing.
1 or 2 missions.
What's going on, guys? My name is Omega and welcome back to another Apex Legends video. So in today's video I'm actually going to be showing you guys the origin story for every single heirloom in Apex Legends. Now some of these signify a specific event that changed the Legends' lives for the better. Others are just a reminder of the dark and complicated past that many of these legends have been suppressing since joining the Apex games. Now I will have timestamps on this video in case you guys are curious about the origin story for a specific heirloom, but without further ado, let's start with the origin story for Wraith and her kunai knife. So this story started with the Voidwalker story from the Outlands that we got like at the beginning of when Apex Legends was released. Now Voidwalker Wraith was on a mission in order to find and kill Dr. Amer Singh, who was the lead IMC scientist that actually led the Wraith project. Now before she was known as Wraith, she was actually known as Renee Palazzi and worked besides Dr. Amer Singh before he turned on her. Now while Voidwalker Wraith was in this facility looking for her target, she realized that the doctor had already died, at least in the dimension that she was currently in. She was caught by an IMC scientist and forced to flee back into the void. While escaping, Voidwalker Wraith noticed another version of herself being tied down by an IMC scientist. Voidwalker Wraith tried to warn the other Wraith about the situation, which at that point is actually how we learned that the voices that Wraith hears inside her head are actually herself talking to her while in the void. When the warning didn't work, Voidwalker Wraith left the void in order to save the other version of Wraith. She knocks out the IMC scientist and frees Wraith using her kunai knife before handing it over to her. Now one of the most important scenes in regard to this heirloom is when Wraith and Voidwalker Wraith were discovered. A fight breaks out and regular Wraith hears a voice to watch out behind her, and when she throws the kunai knife at the scientist who's about to attack her, she gets the chance to kill the scientist with her knife, but decides instead just to knock him out. When Voidwalker Wraith asked her why she hesitated and didn't kill him, regular Wraith responded by saying,
I'm not looking for revenge. I want to know who I am. Too bad. Well, maybe one day you'll get what you're looking for.
Now what's cool about this is how the different personalities of the two Wraiths actually are. Voidwalker is clearly just looking for revenge, while regular Wraith just wants to know why she is the way she is. When Voidwalker Wraith gave her the kunai knife, it almost resembled the passing of a torch from one-dimensional character to another. Voidwalker Wraith had already completed her mission by finding Amer Singh, while regular Wraith was just beginning her mission searching for answers. The story ends when regular Wraith escapes the IMC facility by entering the void for the first time. She leaves the facility and sees herself standing in front of the building site for what would be the start of the Apex game on Kings Canyon. Now, next up we're going to talk about Bloodhound's heirloom, which came from the Old Ways story from the Outlands, when Bloodhound was a young child being raised by their uncle Archer after Bloodhound's dad was killed in an avalanche. Now, what's interesting is that both the heirloom and the raven that flies around with Bloodhound were both originally owned by Uncle Archer. Now, the story starts off with Bloodhound's uncle handing them the raven's white heirloom so that Bloodhound can complete a rite of passage in order to be accepted by their village. Bloodhound's only task was to hunt down a prowler and kill it using the heirloom. If Bloodhound succeeded, they would be accepted as a permanent member of the tribe. If Bloodhound failed this mission, however, they would be forced to leave the village.
Why are you looking for a champion?
Now,
I need
while on the
someone
mission,
worthy
Bloodhound
to
finds
lead
the
the
prowler, but
spirit of
realizes it was
I've
already
been
killed by
deciphering some of the
something much bigger.
sanctuary's stone
After following the
carvings.
trail of blood
They
through a
say
cave,
the
Bloodhound
spear
discovers
was
the charge
hidden in
rifle
the caves
is
beneath
hidden away and being
Kefalonia when
guarded
the
by
temple
this
was built.
giant
You
beast.
could get
The
it
beast
for me,
tries to
couldn't
kill
you?
Bloodhound,
I
but
can
since
give
they
you a
had the charge
reward.
rifle, they were easily able to defend themselves.
If the spear
and
is in
ended
the
up severely
caves,
injuring
I'll
this
find it.
giant.
Well,
Before
maybe
heading
you
back to
were
the
sent
village,
by
like if I
Bloodhound
was.
buried the charge rifle and presented the tusk to their Uncle Arthur, in which Uncle Arthur told Bloodhound to leave and never return, since it was very obvious that Bloodhound had
I'll
used
see
some
what I
kind
can
of
find.
technology to
Oh,
kill
thank
the
you.
beast. They returned the
I'll
heirloom before
prepare a
leaving,
spot
and
in
they
the
realized the
sanctuary.
giant beast had come back to terrorize the village. Uncle Arthur ends up sacrificing himself by jumping on top of the beast and trying to cut it with the raven's bite. He did not succeed, obviously, and ended up being killed by the giant beast. Right before dying, he gives a very emotional speech.
I haven't played this game in a while. So if I'm just trying to remember all of the stuff. I remember damn, I shouldn't have taken them all. Reload later save, which would be once I started the mission, which means he'll be close by.
Before returning the heirloom to Bloodhound.
You will be the first. Luthander, the old father, guides you now.
Now, Bloodhound ends up returning to the Beast Slayer to finish the job when Uncle Arthur's Raven appears, which also hints to Bloodhound that they should try and break the pipe that Raven was currently sitting on. Bloodhound throws their heirloom, breaking open the pipe that sprays cryogenic gas everywhere. This heals the beast, and Bloodhound is forced to crawl away before picking up a respirator that was being worn by a dead soldier. Bloodhound finishes the job by using the Raven's bite in order to destroy what was left of the beast. Now, while Bloodhound's heirloom obviously saved their life,
Fair
it also
is fair.
simply
Are you going to get my
they
wood?
were forced
Those
to
fucking
wear
bandits need
the
to
rest
rat.
of their life. This also now signifies to
Fine.
Bloodhound how important the old ways
I'll take care of it.
were. If Bloodhound had never went into that cave, never picked up the charge rifle, there's a good
All right,
chance that
I did
Uncle
something
Arthur
for
would
you.
still
Now
be
you do
alive.
something.
So that is unfortunately something that Bloodhound is going to have to live with for the rest of their life. Moving on to Octane's butterfly knife. Now, while we have not seen his heirloom being used in any cinematics, we do know that his butterfly knife is definitely an attestation to Octane's personality. Butterfly knives are obviously very quick to use and can also be very dangerous. Many experts who wield butterfly knives also show up in the exactly what Octane did in his past, as he attempted very dangerous stunts in public before joining the Apex games. Now, what's interesting about his heirloom is that not only is it a weapon, but it's also a way for Octane to inject himself with stim. While we don't know what exactly is inside the stim, we do know that Octane takes it from Silva Pharmaceuticals, which is the same company that his father owns. Now, one thing you may have never noticed is that up until Octane's heirloom came out, we never saw him use the stim for recreational purposes. In other words, we would only see him use it during a fight in order to actually run faster. Now, after the release of Octane's heirloom, an animation was discovered where Octane would twirl the knife in his hand and inject a little bit of the stim into his bloodstream. When doing this, he did not run faster. Instead, he would just feel super happy and jittery that he got some stim into him. This basically confirmed what many people originally believed, which is that Octane is addicted to using his stim even when he is not participating in the game. You can definitely notice this when Octane is not moving. He gets very jittery whether you're in-game or just on the main menu screen. While an heirloom is very cool to use and definitely reflects Octane's daredevil personality, it also shines light onto a darker, more addictive side of Octane that doesn't really ever get talked about in the lore. Now, moving on to Lifeline Shock Sticks, Lifeline's heirloom is similar to Octane, in which it hasn't yet appeared in any cinematics on YouTube. However, the past 2 seasons, we have learned a little little bit more in regards to why Lifeline's heirlooms are shock sticks. So at first, many people thought that her heirloom was supposed to represent defibrillators that were shaped into drumsticks. The drumsticks aspect of it was a mystery up until the end of Season 6, when we discovered that Lifeline used to be the drummer in a band called Liars. You can see this from an image on Watson's desk that Apex Legends actually posted to Twitter a couple of weeks before the launch of Season 7. Currently don't know who actually gave Lifeline her shock sticks. I don't think it has anything to do with her parents. We see from the quest line, she doesn't really have the best relationship with her parents, but this is kind of one of those heirlooms that I think was just more thrown in there for fun, and not really because it had any significant importance to the lore. Next up, we're going to talk about Mirage's trophy heirloom, which out of all of the heirlooms is actually probably one of the most impressive backstories. So Mirage's heirloom, as you guys know, is a golden statue of himself that definitely reflects, his overly confident and charming personality, but it also shows a very dark and depressing side to Mirage's life. While inspecting the heirloom, Mirage has a voice line where he laughs and says, "Mom is going to love this." Now, we know from the lore that Mirage and his mother had a very close relationship growing up. She was a holotech engineer who originally introduced Mirage to the technology that would allow him to create decoys. Mirage and his mom had such a close relationship that he actually got her permission before joining the Apex games, and he didn't want to do it unless she supported his decision. What's important about Mirage's mother is that she either suffers from dementia or Alzheimer's disease and has a hard time remembering who her son is. This was confirmed from an Easter egg on Mirage Voyage, where you could hear a phone call between Mirage and his mother, in which he has to remind her that he is Elliot, her son.
Yeah, that's right, Mom. Yeah, I'm your son. Elliot. Yeah, of course, don't worry. I'll win for you today, always for my #1 fan. Yeah, you go enjoy your pork chops. I know they're your favorite. I'm gonna go win the chance. I'm gonna go be the best. Alright. Love you, Mom. Bye.
So, where did Mirage's trophy come from? Now, one theory is that Mirage made the trophy for his mom so that she would have an easier time remembering who he is. This might explain why Mirage has been involved in the Apex games for so long. He knows that his past memories with his mother will forever just be memories, since there is a good chance she is going to one day completely forget who he is. Another theory is that Mirage's mom did make the trophy for him before he entered the games, but doesn't remember it due to her condition. Maybe the trophy is something that Mirage has shown his mom before, and maybe he just likes seeing her new reaction every time she sees it again. Regardless, this heirloom definitely symbolizes Mirage's charming and outgoing personality, but it also shows a darker side to his life, one where he needs to constantly participate.
Sorry if I haven't been talking that much. I forgot I was on stream.
Seeing Mirage win, even if she does forget that Mirage and her son are.
I'm gonna actually just end the stream here and hop off of this, because this is actually quite boring. That first playthrough, it was fun. Second, it was just straight up boring. So yeah, I'm gonna stop stream.